Someone in a GLP-1 Facebook group once posted that she had injected an entire dose into the needle cap. Not her body, the cap. She hadn't removed it before injecting, and the medication went nowhere, and she had no idea until she looked down. The comments flooded in. "I've done that. I thought I was the only one. This happened to me twice before I figured it out." I want to talk about that story today because it's not really about a mistake. It's about what happens when women are handed an injectable medication with no training, no follow-up, and no one checking their technique. Of course mistakes happen. Of course the anxiety follows. I'm Dr. Jen Bradley. I'm a psychologist with over 30 years of clinical experience, and I'm also a GLP-1 user. This channel is about the emotional and psychological side of this journey, the part no one prepared you for. If you've been on a GLP-1 for any amount of time, you probably know the loop I'm talking about. You inject. Immediately, you wonder if you did it right. You Google. You find 5 different answers. Now you're wondering if the injection site affects absorption. You Google that. 30 minutes later, you're in a Reddit thread from 2 years ago, and you feel worse than when you started. The questions don't stop. Am I on the right dose? Should I go up or stay here? Am I injecting in the right place? What if I've been doing this wrong the whole time and I don't even know it? I want to name something important about that loop. By the 3rd or 4th search, it is no longer an information problem. The information stopped being the point 2 searches ago. What you're experiencing now is anxiety. And anxiety doesn't respond to more data. It responds to something different entirely. And we'll get into that in a moment. First, I want to talk about why this is so hard, because it's not what most people think. When I started compounded GLP-1 medication, I received a vial, a box of syringes, and nothing else. No instruction, no orientation, no nurse walking me through injection technique. I learned to inject myself from Facebook groups. My own physician had no guidance on diet, no recommendations on exercise, no framework for what was about to happen to my body. I'm a psychologist with over 30 years of experience, and I still felt completely at sea. Here's the truth. The guidance infrastructure around GLP-1s, especially for women on compounded medications, still hasn't caught up to how widely these medications are being prescribed. You were handed a tool with no manual. Of course there's anxiety. That's not a personal failure. That's a rational response to a genuinely inadequate situation. But there's something else happening too. For many high-achieving women, control is what has made life manageable. Research thoroughly enough, plan carefully enough, stay on top of everything, and things will be okay. That strategy has worked. It may have carried you through a lot. GLP-1s don't cooperate with it. There is no dose that is definitely right, the way a math problem has a right answer. The medication is inherently individualized. And when your go-to coping strategy stops working, the anxiety escalates. This is a control issue. And once you name it as one, you can actually do something about it. Here's the one thing I want you to try this week. The next time you notice the loop starting, when you're about to search the same question for the 4th time, stop and write down one sentence. What am I actually afraid of right now? Not the surface question, not did I inject correctly? The real fear underneath it. It might be, I'm afraid this won't work. I'm afraid I'll hurt myself. I'm afraid that no matter how hard I try, it won't be enough. Whatever it is, write it down. You don't have to solve it. You don't have to talk yourself out of it. Just name it. Named fears lose their power to drive the loop. The anxiety needs the fear to stay vague and urgent. When you make it specific, you can actually work with it. The injection anxiety almost always eases with time, not because the uncertainty disappears, but because you build evidence. You did it last week and the week before. You're building competence quietly without anyone handing you a roadmap. That's exactly what I want to support. Every week, I send a free newsletter called After the Noise, one practical psychological tool for navigating the emotional terrain of this journey. The link to subscribe is in the description below. If this video was helpful, please subscribe to this channel. There's a lot more of this conversation ahead. I'll see you next week.